We're tracking the investigation into a string of break-ins at school parking lots. Police say a theft ring might be to blame.
We sit down with a Kentucky congressman taking part in a national drug summit, what he thinks needs to be done to fight the drug abuse epidemic.
A charge against his campaign manager continues to plague Donald Trump on the campaign trail as he and the other candidates focus on winning votes in New York and Wisconsin.
WKYT News starts now with breaking news.
A robbery triggering a safety alert on the UK campus this afternoon.
That alert lasted less than 30 minutes. UK just released information about the robbery in the last few minutes. WKYT's Monique Blair is live on the UK campus where she's been working to gather more details. Monique?
Yeah, Sam and Amber, we just got brand new information. UK police are now calling this a strong armed robbery. They say it happened at the Kentucky Clinic parking garage behind me shortly after 3 o'clock this afternoon. They say they believe the victim does know the suspect, but at this time, no arrests have been made. Now, the alert came through at 3:08, alerting every student on campus that there was a report of an armed robbery at parking structure 3 on campus. That parking garage sits on Plaza Drive behind the Kentucky Clinic. A school spokesperson tells me this garage is primarily used by patients at the Kentucky Clinic and that it is often very busy. The garage was closed for about 20 minutes, but it has since reopened. I spoke with UK pharmacy student Zach Johnson, who says he was in the campus gym when he got the alert, both in the form of a text message and an automated phone call.
I wasn't really nervous or scared. It just made me really realize how close to home it is. A lot of times you hear about whether it be a school shooting or an armed robbery, but it never really happens around here. And then to hear that in your own backyard, and I live just down the street, so really hits home there. All
clear was sent out to all UK students about 20 minutes after that initial alert came out. We will continue to keep you updated on this developing story as new details become available. For now, I'm reporting live in Lexington. Monique Blair, WKYT.
Monique, thank you. School parking lots in 2 counties have become the target of thieves. Lexington police say the string of car break-ins is all part of a larger theft ring.
In one case, a victim lost $11,000, and there is a person of interest in this case. Our Victor Puente shows us who they're looking for in our top story at 5.
Detectives from 2 counties are searching for this woman. They say she's cashed checks that were stolen from schools for thousands of dollars. This is the woman police say has been cashing those checks. So far, they've had 5 victims, 2 in Franklin County, 3 in Fayette. Lexington police say several purses were stolen from Cassidy Elementary earlier this month. Then several checks were cashed at banks across central Kentucky, in Berea, Harrodsburg, and Lexington. It was a similar story in Franklin County. The sheriff's office is investigating a theft from Westridge Elementary that led to $11,000 worth of checks being written. They say in each case, this woman is trying to make herself look similar to the person whose ID she stole. They believe she's traveling with 2 men in a blue pickup, and the group knew what they were doing when they took those purses.
Individuals cashing these checks obviously had planned out what they were doing. They didn't just walk into a bank and attempt to cash a check without a little bit more knowledge of how the banking system works.
Detective Helsby told me they did get the number on the license plate of the car she was driving, but they said that plate had been stolen off of a car in Oklahoma. In Lexington, Victor Puente, WKYT.
And police say you should leave your checks at home unless you know you're going to need them. They also say to never leave a purse or a wallet in your car, especially if it's visible, and lock the car. We've enjoyed warm weather today, but of course, changes are on the way.
Yeah, we're going to see strong, possibly severe storms by this time tomorrow. WKYT Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey's here now with a check of that forecast.
Yeah, that often means weather changes are coming whenever you're getting some strong or severe thunderstorms right now. A colder pattern is going to follow that up. Between now and then, talking about tomorrow, it looks really, really good across central and eastern Kentucky. It looks great out there right now. High cloud cover. Look at that temperature. Lexington, 72 degrees. We're down a couple of degrees over the past hour with some high clouds that are in town. Winds are sustained, 17 miles an hour, getting gusts closing in on 30. Later tonight and tomorrow, those winds may top 40 miles per hour. Overall, though, it's a good-looking view across most of central and eastern Kentucky. Check out the eastern part of the state. 77 right now in Jackson, where you have a hint of some sunshine. 76 Ashland, Prestonsburg 75, most of central Kentucky 70 to 75 degrees. Mix of sun and some clouds out there across the Bluegrass region. Look what's to our west, though. Severe weather threat is now ongoing and increasing from Wichita to Dallas over toward parts of the Mississippi Valley, and eventually that leading band of showers and thunderstorms gets into town tomorrow. But look what's out to the west with that cold front. That's our late Thursday severe weather threat across central and eastern Kentucky. That will be followed by a much colder pattern as we roll our way into the first week of April. Kind of an ugly look in that 7-day forecast, and we will track the severe weather threat, break it down with the timing and the overall impact on the weather where you live when I come back in a little over 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chris. Lawmakers and experts have been meeting in Atlanta this week looking for ways to beat this country's drug epidemic.
While everyone acknowledges the problem needs to be addressed, there are different ideas on how to do it. WKYT's investigative reporter Miranda Combs is at the summit. She talked with Kentucky Congressman Hal Rogers about the challenges of treating drug abuse.
This is day 3 of the largest summit in the country of its kind. We've been sitting in on breakout sessions all day listening to experts from different angles of the drug epidemic. One of the biggest challenges our investigations team has noticed over the past couple of days is getting everyone on the same page on how to treat the problem of addiction. We had a sit-down interview this afternoon with Congressman Hal Rogers. He said 4 out of 5 people that overdose on heroin started with prescription pills and then graduated to heroin. He says the solution is a holistic approach involving law enforcement, the medical community, and treatment specialists.
So it's an educational thing for the people that are involved in fighting abuse all around the country from different angles, learning and sharing together.
Coming up at 6, we talked to Congressman Hal Rogers about the visit from President Obama yesterday and what that meant to his charge. Reporting in Atlanta, Miranda Combs, WKYT.
More than 2,000 people attended the summit. It is the highest number since it started 5 years ago.
The search continues for an escaped inmate considered dangerous. Our county-by-county coverage begins in Clay County. Investigators say that Ronald Gray escaped from a transport van on Monday while being taken from Knox to Leslie County. Another inmate also escaped but was quickly caught. We're told the pair managed to open a window and unlock the van from the outside to get free. The Leslie County jailer says 2 jail guards have been fired because of the escapes. In Franklin County, there's been a motion filed over evidence in a bourbon heist. The defense for alleged ringleader Gilbert Kurtzinger and his wife Julie filed a motion to suppress all evidence obtained through 2 search warrants. The warrants led to 5 barrels of stolen wild turkey investigators say they found on the Kurtzingers' property. The State Journal reports a judge is expected to hear the motions in Franklin Circuit Court in a few weeks.
Plans to partially reopen the Brussels, Belgium airport were canceled today because there is still too much damage from last week's deadly terror attack. A temporary facility is being built and tested so flights can resume as soon as possible. Airport officials say it will be tomorrow afternoon at the earliest before it reopens. More than a dozen people died in the attack on the airport, including a Lexington native and her husband. A criminal complaint against Donald Trump's campaign manager continues to fuel an already contentious race for president. The candidates in both parties are focused on contests in New York and Wisconsin. As Weijia Jiang shows us, a new poll shows the competition in both states is fierce.
It's not Donald Trump, but his campaign manager who is in the spotlight as the presidential candidates prep for the next round of primary voting.
Did anybody think it was really terrible where he should be fired?
At a rally in Wisconsin on Wednesday, Trump defended Corey Lewandowski, who faces a simple battery charge. Florida police say this surveillance video shows him grabbing a reporter in February.
Physically assaulting a reporter is a fireable offense.
The latest poll from Marquette Law School shows Wisconsin voters prefer Ted Cruz to Trump 40 to 30%. Kasich comes in third with 21%. All 3 GOP candidates are reversing earlier positions that supporting the eventual nominee is necessary to unite the party. Now, none of them will commit to standing by the winner.
Frankly, if they're the nominees, I think there's a real danger we'll lose the United States Senate.
Hillary Clinton apparently thinks Trump is the man to beat, targeting him in a new ad campaign running in New York.
Some say we can solve America's problems by building walls.
She held an event there at the historic Apollo Theater.
You know, loose cannons tend to misfire. And in a dangerous world, that's not a gamble we can afford.
But Bernie Sanders, campaigning in Wisconsin, stayed on message.
If I can't win on my ideas, I don't want to win.
He and Clinton are in a tight race there. He has a 4-point lead within the poll's margin of error. Weijia Jiang, CBS News, the White House.
Clinton is going into the next round of primaries with a big delegate lead, but Sanders has won 5 of the past 6 states that held contests.
A local brewery raised from the ground up in Lexington is now expanding to Scott County. Coming up, I'll tell you which one it is.
When it comes to headlights, many car models fall short. The findings of some new testing in Better Living.
Coal in Kentucky has been hit hard.
We've exported coal for forever, so now what we want to do is export coal.
See how one Kentucky company is switching from coal to coating. Thursday at 6 on WKYT.
Kick your style into gear. Right now at Men's Warehouse, take an extra 50% off clearance items. Plus buy one, get one free on more. From dressed up styles to laid back looks. Save big on spring essentials. Men's Warehouse, rise to the occasion.
If you have questions about your on-the-job injury, visit forthepeople.com for more information. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Building the only trucks with the best horsepower, best towing, best torque, and best payload takes guts. Overcoming any obstacle, that's the glory. Get a great deal on the trucks that give you both during Ram Truck Month. Returning FCA US lessees finance and get $11,000 in total values on the purchase of a 2016 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab.
We had people make their own pizzas. They were very clear about what they didn't want.
When I see fillers, I run for the hills.
What is BHA? That doesn't sound fun.
I've never heard of those things. I don't want that.
So why in the world would you pay for those ingredients in a pizza you buy?
Get to know better. Papa John's pizzas don't have ingredients like BHA, BHT, or meat with fillers. Get one of our best deals ever. For just $9.99, get any large pizza with up to 5 toppings. That's 5 toppings for just $9.99, all with our quality guarantee.
At papajohns.com.
For less than the average price of a car, you could be driving an extraordinary Mercedes-Benz. One that shatters the standards of performance and shatters the limits of technology. The 2016 GLA, starting at just $32,500, shattering expectations wherever it goes. Lease the GLA 250 for $349 a month at your local Mercedes-Benz dealer.
Hurt in a car accident?
Your pain and suffering might be worth more than you think.
Car repairs, medical bills, gone.
We make it easy.
I made that call.
Let's get started. 800-800-4600.
Who you gonna call?
Stay connected to the news that matters to you, like WKYT on Facebook.
Kick your style into gear. Right now at Men's Warehouse, take an extra 50% off clearance items. Plus buy one, get one free on more. From dressed up styles to laid back looks. Save big on spring essentials. Men's Warehouse, rise to the occasion.
Get WKYT news and weather update on Wild 1039. Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
Overall, a very nice weather day that continues across the Bluegrass State. A little bit of high cloud cover coming on into town, but those temperatures deep into the 70s into many areas. Look at the sky cams from across the land. I see that Jenkins sky cam getting a little shy on us here at the last minute. A little bit overcast conditions are out there. Those are ice crystal clouds leading edge of a bigger storm system that is off to our west. We're seeing some sunshine and also seeing a little forest fire on that Jackson cam coming out of Breathitt County. Low and mid 70s, most of central Kentucky, upper 70s to the east. Humidity levels are way down. Winds are gusty too, and that's unfortunately kind of a bad combination to get some of those forest fires into parts of the region. Brush fires too. Just slow down, take it easy, abide by all the local burning restrictions that are out there. That spring forest fire season off and running around here. High cloud cover most of central and eastern Kentucky. Back to our west. Showers, thunderstorms ongoing ahead of a big storm system. Cold air to the west, warm air to the east. You get those two together, you're going to get some thunderstorms. What does that mean for us into the day tomorrow? 24-hour planner. Shower, thunderstorm in the morning. Not going to rain all day by any means. I think into the afternoon we will see sunshine breaking out, temperatures spiking into the 70s. If we get enough sun, upper 70s are possible tomorrow. The more sun tomorrow, the better the chance that early evening we see a line of strong and severe thunderstorms racing on through. High winds are going to be a big player tomorrow, regardless of if we get a true severe thunderstorm or not. Outside of any thunderstorms tomorrow, winds can hit 40 to 45 miles per hour. Small hail would be a possibility. You get a severe thunderstorm, that hail could be upwards of golf ball size before the day is over. Flooding, tornado threat, always much, much lower in most cases than the wind and hail threat, and that is the case for tomorrow. Hour by hour forecast through the evening. Everything is dry. Tomorrow morning, shower and thunderstorm band begins to dry up across central Kentucky. As that dries up, skies are going to try to clean up a little bit. 70s, then all of a sudden look what happens as we go into the late afternoon and early evening. Here comes a line of thunderstorms racing across the region. That may be a bit on the strong side. 10 o'clock tomorrow night, cold front is still off to our west. That may have an additional band of some thunderstorms racing through toward the latter part of the evening. Now, Friday's a cooler day, upper 50s, low 60s. That chilly air is lagging behind that with one more system that dives in as we go into the second half of Saturday. We'll start Saturday out with upper 30s to low 40s, and from there, we get these blasts of some cold air across central and eastern Kentucky, and the potential is there for multiple days of below freezing temperatures. As a matter of fact, a hard freeze possible Sunday, then again Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. We will worry about that when we get there, guys. Tomorrow could be a bumpy day, especially late afternoon into the evening.
Yeah, always in your department, we have to get through one thing and then the other. We can't look too far ahead.
That's right. That's a big temperature drop coming up.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Look at Lexington rush hour traffic and to a significant traffic impact right now. There is a collision that has occurred on Versailles Road, US 60, near the Bluegrass Parkway in Woodford County. We've confirmed that this is a fatality collision, which means police will have to be there for some time investigating exactly what happened. For now, traffic for westbound US 60 is being diverted onto the parkway because of that collision, and traffic's backing up almost to Keeneland right now, leaving Lexington toward Versailles. So obviously that's impacting our drive time to Versailles. That goes without saying. As far as Nicholasville is concerned, we're wide open right now between Fayette Mall out to Brandon Crossing and Richmond to the Clays Ferry Bridge, and on into Madison County looks good. Now back to you in the studio.
Thanks for that update, Don. A Lexington brewery expanding to a neighboring county. We'll show you what Country Boy Brewing is building ahead.
A fugitive captured in Lexington faces charges in another county. What he's accused of doing that nearly injured a deputy. That's on WKYT News at 5:30.
Kentucky mornings start here. Breaking and overnight news, weather to plan your day, plus traffic you can take with you. Make WKYT This Morning part of your Kentucky morning. Weekdays from 4:30 to 7 on WKYT.
This time of year, everyone in the Lexington area is excited because they know it's time for the Burke Furniture March Markdown Madness Sale. Slam dunk huge savings up to 60% off in every department.
A beautiful home begins at Burke's.
So, you've got these projects on your list. You've been wanting to update your kitchen, organize your closets, and build the backyard oasis of your dreams. But where do you start? Well, projects solved. The Central Kentucky Home and Garden Show is here. Need a reliable contractor? You'll find them at the show. Need a landscaping pro? They're here too. Bring photos of your projects and meet with the experts. Then compare and save with exclusive show-only deals. There's only one place to find it all this weekend at the Lexington Center.
With your local electric cooperative's Simple Saver program, you save energy, the environment, and get at least $30 in free energy bill credits. Just sign up and we do all the work. It's just that easy. Simple Saver. Sign up and save. 1-800-305-5493. SimpleSaver.coop. Bluegrass Energy and Inter-County Energy. Your Touchstone Energy cooperatives.
Want to fill your garage with the best value brand in America that costs less than the competition? Honda's got it. During Honda's Dream Garage Sales Event, redesigned 2016 Accords, the #1 selling sedan, just $199 a month. Or drive with 0 down, 0 security, and 0 first month's payment. Accords. Available with Honda Lane Watch, Brake Assist, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and more. Just $199 a month or 0 due at signing. Honda's got it at your Central Kentucky Honda dealers.
I love grocery shopping at Kroger, but sometimes life gets busy.
So I use ClickList. It's easy. I just order online. And with thousands of great items and fresh food to choose from,
I can get what I want the way I want it, then pick up my order at the store without ever leaving my car.
and for me, that's a game changer.
Order online, pick up curbside at store. We think you're going to love ClickList. Try it now at Kroger.com/ClickList.
This time of year, everyone in the Lexington area is excited because they know it's time for the Burke Furniture March Markdown Madness Sale. Slam dunk huge savings up to 60% off in every department.
A beautiful home begins at Burke's.
When big news breaks, be the first to know. Download the WKYT News app and turn on push alerts. Breaking news at your fingertips when you need to know what's going on. Push alerts, now available on the WKYT News app. Keep up with the latest news on WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
The reopening of a Kentucky bridge has been delayed a week. The Kennedy Mill Bridge will now open on April 8th. The bridge connects Mercer and Garrett counties over Lake Harrington. It closed in September so crews could fix deteriorating steel supports. A big milestone today for a Lexington brewery.
Country Boy Brewing broke ground on a major expansion into Scott County. Our Mike Byers shows us what the brewery is building.
Country Boy Brewing first opened its doors in Lexington back in February of 2012. Now flash forward 4 short years and the brewery is already expanding to right here in Georgetown.
It's kind of a dream come true for us to be able to expand.
Country Boy Brewing co-founder Daniel Harrison was one of over 100 people who came out to Georgetown to celebrate the groundbreaking of the brewery's newest facility.
I'm from here. The climate's right, one of the fastest growing counties in the state. Whole lot of buzz going on here in Georgetown. We're happy to be a part of it.
The brewery will be located in the 100 block of Corporate Boulevard in the Lanes Run Business Park. The 23,000 square foot facility will feature a tap room, an outdoor patio, and an area for private events. But Harrison says the main focus of the facility will be
it's a production facility. So we'll have a big 50-barrel American-made brew house made by Sprinkman out of Wisconsin, bottling line, canning line, kegging line, all that kind of good stuff here to be able to just to get more liquid out into the market.
Overall, the project cost $5.8 million, money that Harrison and his partners thought they would never be spending.
If you'd asked us 4 years ago would we be doing this, we'd have said you're crazy. I'm glad that we are, of course. It's been a dream come true.
Now, as you can see behind me, the site is currently made up of mounds of dirt and construction equipment. But co-founder Daniel Harrison says by the end of this year, all of this will be gone, and in its place will be Country Boy's newest location. In Georgetown, Mike Byer, WKYT.
The new brewer will create 20 to 25 jobs. There's a new traffic light to be on the lookout for in a growing part of Lexington. A light on Polo Club Boulevard at the entrance to Costco and Cabela's will be active at 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock this morning was active. The signal will help with traffic flow from the stores as well as a new apartment complex being built right across the street. Eastern Kentucky University adding on to its stadium. We'll show you the changes there on WKYT News at 5:30.
A new report shows the challenges facing those who care for loved ones with Alzheimer's, and tests show the headlights on many cars need improvement. The story's next in Better Living.
Get WKYT News and weather updates on Mix 94.5.
Buying a new energy-efficient refrigerator or freezer? Well, get paid to upgrade. Let our Energy Star Appliance Rebate Program help you earn cash back on a range of Energy Star certified appliances. Just visit our website to see how to get paid to upgrade. South Kentucky RECC and Jackson Energy, your Touchstone Energy cooperatives.
It's been said the origin of modern golf can be traced to Scotland. Known for its highlands and lowlands, early golfers had to adjust from mountainous terrains to the lowest valleys if they wanted to compete. While we don't expect you to dust off the old kilt, We do invite you to play around at the two most distinct courses in Kentucky, Stonecrest and the Paintsville Golf Course. Visit Paintsville and Prestonsburg today. Mention this ad and save 20% on tee times and lodging.
At Frankfort Toyota, we have new 2016 Camrys. Up to $3,900 off MSRP or 0% financing available. Or new 2016 Avalons. Up to $5,000 off MSRP or take advantage of 0% financing. And we'll double your no-cost maintenance to 4 years or 50,000 miles.
Frankfort Toyota, Google rated 4.9 out of 5 stars.
Frankfort Toyota, or check us out online at frankforttoyota.com.
When you play Kentucky lottery games like 5-Card Cash, college students all over Kentucky are dealt a winning hand.
Fueling imagination.
Funding education.
Our city is like one big machine with thousands of moving parts. Lextrend keeps more of those parts moving than most of us realize. Moving thousands of people a day to and from places of education or employment or enjoyment. Days and nights, rain or shine, weekdays and weekends, Sundays and holidays. So whether you ride the bus or not, you can count on the fact that many of the people you count on Lextrend.
Make a fast break for great savings now.
Big Blue Nation, it's Paul Miller Ford's Matchup Sales Event. Huge savings on Kentucky's most popular brand. 0% financing for 60 months available or lease for less. New 2015 Ford Focus, lease for only $139 per month on a 36-month lease. New 2016 Ford Fusions, lease for only $169 a month on a 36-month lease. New 2016 Ford F-150s as low as $20,990.
Point, click, drive. PaulMillerFord.com.
Nominate your favorite teacher for Teacher of the Year. They could win a $1,000 gift card and you could win a $500 gift card. Go to WKYT.com/teacher.
We're not leaving our team. We'll die trying.
DC's Legends of Tomorrow returns Thursday, 8/7 Central.
It is time now for better living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. A new report from the Alzheimer's Association shows the challenges of caring for someone with a disease. As Hannah Daniels shows us, the diagnosis often leads caregivers to sacrifice their own work and health for the sake of their loved one.
It's a love story that spanned 6 decades. Renee Packle lost her husband Arthur last year after he battled Alzheimer's disease.
His wife and his children were always first.
Renee had to cope with the emotional toll the disease took on her family, but she says there was also a significant financial burden.
I had to learn to write checks and handle our finances.
A new report from the Alzheimer's Association finds caregivers make big sacrifices to support loved ones with the disease.
Having to make choices about putting food on the table or going to the doctor or taking money out of their retirement funds.
More than a third of caregivers reported having to reduce their work hours or quit to care for someone with Alzheimer's. It's recommended families educate themselves and think about long-term care when planning for retirement.
2/3 of the people incorrectly believed that Medicare covers long-term care, like nursing homes. They're blindsided by the time they need the care. They realize they can't get it. They don't have that kind of coverage, and they don't know how they're going to pay for it.
The Packles eventually sold their suburban home, their cars, and moved into a one-bedroom apartment. Renee got a job and walks there every day.
He was way too good to me.
Today, Renee remembers the caring man that always put his family first. Hannah Daniels for CBS News.
You may not think about your car's headlights much, but they're critical to keeping you safe on the road. For the first time, the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety tested headlights on mid-size cars. The results for most models was dismal. Of the 31 cars tested, the Toyota Prius V was the only one to earn a good rating.
Big thing that we found was that there's a large variation in the amount of light down the road. For instance, worst performing headlight low beam only projects about 130 feet down the road. In contrast, the best performing vehicle, Toyota Prius V with LED headlights, projects 400 feet down the road.
More expensive cars don't always come equipped with better quality lights. Many of the poor rated headlights were installed on luxury vehicles. Now, here's what's coming up for you at 5:30.